Motion to resume public session. Ms. Unson and Dr. Richards, all in favor? The vote is unanimous. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance. New York State Seal of Biliteracy Recognition.
Good evening, Superintendent Daly, President Potensky, Vice President Dr. Richards, members of the board. Thank you so much for this opportunity to honor our seniors that are receiving the Seal of Biliteracy tonight. These students have been working really for the past 2 years towards the Seal of Biliteracy, so we're really excited for them tonight to get all of their official documents and cords for graduation. So for those of you that have been with us, this is our 4th year offering the Seal of Biliteracy in Gates Chile. It is a national program. Each state that adopts the Seal of Biliteracy program kind of puts their own spin and requirements on it. But in New York State, these students have to earn 3 points for English, 3 points for the world language that they choose, and there's different criteria to earn those points. So for English, usually they get a point for their ELA regents, a point for their average, keeping it above an 85 for their junior and senior year. Both years count for English. And then their senior research paper also counts for points towards their English. Then for their world language, similarly, they have to keep their grades above an 85 if they're taking a world language with us in Gates Chile. So if they're taking Italian, French, Spanish, or Latin, their average has to be above an 85. Their test, their final average and things like that. They also have to do a presentation, which all of these students did in the target language. So their entire presentation is done in that language. All of the questions that they answer from the panel have to be done in that language. For some students who may or may not be with us tonight, if they're doing a language that we don't offer in Gates Chile, or if they're doing a language that is their home language, they earn their points by taking a test online or working with an interpreter to prove proficiency in that language. So they've been working on this for quite a while. The great thing about this is that these students really work on this completely independently. They fill out the application, they come to the meetings on their own, they have to communicate, sign up for their times to meet with their advisor, they have to sign up for their time for their presentations and really take responsibility to do all of that, which is another great quality in all of these kids. So I would like to ask a couple of the world language teachers who serve as their advisors. They meet with the students to approve their project, help them practice their project. They really did a lot of the work on this to come up and just help me hand out the awards for the students. Each student tonight will be getting their honor cord, so you'll see these at graduation. They are black and silver. They'll also be notated in the program for earning the Seal of Biliteracy, so they'll wear this for graduation. They are getting a medallion from New York State that they can choose to wear to graduation if they'd like to. They will get an official certificate from New York State, and then also our own little gift to them, their bilingual superpower mug that we've been doing for the last few years. So I will call the names and have you guys do their certificates. And we're going to go through all the students. I know a couple of them couldn't be here with sports and jobs and things, but we will recognize all of them. And then if they're not here, is it not on? Okay. Okay. Our first student who's earning the seal in Spanish and English, Yaron Acebel Vargas. And you can stand, kids, you guys can stand right up here, and then we'll kind of do a group picture when we're done. Earning the seal in Latin and English, Spencer Anderson. Yeah, you can do those if you want. For Spanish and English, Daniel Haig. Spanish and English, Caitlin Horn. For French and English, Emily Gwynn. Emily, we get these two, yeah. For Latin and English, Olivia Keller. For Spanish and English, Isabella Claver. For French and English, Grace Leclerc. For Spanish and English, Nick Morocco. For French and English, Shay Perry. Shay is the third in her family to earn the seal of biliteracy. For French and English, Cyrus Seng. For Latin and English, Emma Sohail. For Spanish and English, Alyssa Bukosek. And for French and English, Karis Winings. Again, thank you all for being here. Congratulations. If you guys can hold your certificates kind of out
And, like,
so that Mrs. Petrosino can take your pictures.
Yeah, we might have to do two rows, actually.
Scooch in a little.
So let's see.
And we'll get out of your way.
Like that. Okay, I'll get my shot and then I'll move out of everybody's way from there. Front row, can you guys take one baby step this way, please? Actually, one more baby step. That's good. Awesome. Awesome, thank you. Okay.
Nobody moved.
Say cheese. Thank you.
No, one more.
Thank you so much for giving us the time to honor these students, and they will be honored again at graduation with their cords. And the students who weren't here tonight will make sure that they get all of their certificates as well.
All right. Moving on to agenda changes.
Yes, sir, we had changes in personnel and to the continuing ed report.
No, let's see that. All right. Moving on to board president comments. First of all, I would like to thank and acknowledge our students that we just celebrated who achieved the New York State Seal of Biliteracy. I'd like to acknowledge their commitment to academic excellence and congratulate them on their achievement. We'd also like to congratulate the Gates-Chi girls track team. They are Section 5 champs, and they are moving on to states, and we wish them all the best in state competition. And I'd like to point out that at the 621 meeting, we will be celebrating their Section 5 achievement. Congratulations. Moving on to points of interest. Any points of interest this evening? Nope, hearing none. Moving on to reported meetings. We have reported meetings. None? Moving on to visitor comments. The Gates-Chi Central School District Board of Education invites public comment at this time. Speakers may not yield their time to another speaker. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. We ask that individuals state their name and address prior to comments and utilize the podium and microphone to address the board. Although the board will not respond directly to individual comments at this time, items brought to the attention of the board may be taken under consideration for future response or action. In order to comply with laws related to confidentiality, we ask that issues related to a specific school district personnel or students be brought up to the attention of the superintendent of schools privately. The board reserves the right to terminate speakers' comments if his or her comments are in excess of 3 minutes, repetitive, or are not appropriate for discussion in an open public forum. Charles Johnson. Good evening.
How you guys doing?
Great.
I'll try to make this quick. First thing, something that, sorry, Mr. Moscato, that you said a few times, something about the purpose of the school board not really having any authority, but kind of, sorry, Mr. Daly, throwing Mr. Daly underneath the bus for whatever happens. It's all on him, which I understand that. So I was just wondering, what's the purpose of the school board, and if we all waste time, if there is really no reason to be here, if Mr. Daly does all the work. So I just wanted to understand that a little bit more. And if that's the case, then shouldn't we have that check and balance to kind of put Mr. Daly in check? No offense, Mr. Daly. But to put him in check to kind of help, I don't know, give a more harmony for the school. My other thing was the last meeting, hearing the transportation guy talk about the excessive gas prices and not how should I say, not being ready for it or not being prepared that the gas price was going to be so high. But if you paid attention to 2020 during the debates, Mr. President Trump even pointed out that if you voted for Biden, you'd get high gas prices. Also, if he watched the first 100 days of what Biden did, he would have also realized that the first 100 days of executive orders pretty much put us in the position where we are now with gas. And the reason why I bring that up is it's easier to say that I didn't see it coming, and then the following year bump our taxes up because we have to cover the cost of the gas that we had to pay for. I guess the whole point is just being a little bit more prepared. I did point it out as I was a budget ambassador that it's going to be a rough year because of the gas prices. I mean, I don't have the education to be a transportation specialist, but I just pay attention to the news. And my last thing is we got to know each other for the past season because I was all worried about the kids wearing masks and trying to give medical proof that they shouldn't be wearing masks. And I found out that we kind of sold the kids for $43 million, if that's kind of correct. Something about we having to take the COVID money, order to do the COVID money, whatever. It helped pay for the lunches. I don't know the full detail, but I can go back to recordings. It's something that, that was also brought up. But that's it. Nothing major. Just my annoying self. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Charles. Lynn Knopf.
Hello, it's Lynn Knopf and 100 Loyalist Avenue. So just going to read this. He emerged from the bathroom, slinging off his tunic and shirt, and I propped myself on my elbows and watched as he paused at the edge of the bed. My attention went right to the strong, clever fingers that unfastened his pants. Tamlin let out a low snarl of approval, and I bit my bottom lip as he removed his pants along with his undergarments, revealing the proud, thick length of him. My mouth went dry, and I dragged my gaze up his muscled torso over the panes of his chest. And then, "Come here," he growled, so roughly his words were barely discernible. I pushed back the blankets, revealing my already naked body, and he hissed. His features turned ravenous as I crawled across the bed and rose to my knees. I took his face in my hands, his golden skin framed either side of my fingers of ivory and of swirling black, and I kissed him. His gaze held through the kiss, even as I pushed myself closer, biting back the small noise that as he brushed against my stomach. His calloused hands grazed my hips, my waist, and held me there as he lowered his head, seizing a kiss. A brush of his tongue against the seam of my lips had me opening fully to him. And he swept in, claiming me, branding me. I moaned and tilted my head back and gave him better access. His hands clamped my waist, then moved, one going to cut my rear and the other sliding between us. This is the moment when...
Excuse me, Lynn,
Yes,
can you give the board some context as to...
I will
why
at the
you're-
end.
I
Thank you.
think it would help us if we had context.
Yes,
as
this
we're
is a
listening to
book
it.
that is available to our middle school children. It is in our library, and it is in the Gates Child High School library. This is a book that we parents have been assured that there are age-appropriate books only in our library. So I will
Okay.
continue reading.
Thank you for the context.
Thank you. I moaned and tilted my head back. At this moment, when it was him and me and nothing between our bodies, his tongue swept to my mouth again, in time with his finger that had slipped inside of me. My lips undulated, demanding more, craving the fullness of him, and his growl reverberated as he added another finger. I moved on him. Lightning lashed through my veins, and my focus narrowed to his fingers, his mouth, his body, and mine. His palm pushed against the bundle of nerves at the apex of my thighs, and I groaned his name and shattered. My head thrown back, I gulped down the cool night air, and then I was being lowered to the bed, gently, delicately, lovingly. He paused, arms trembling, as he held himself over me. "Please," I gasped. I begged. He palmed my breast, flicking my nipple. I cried out, and he buried himself in me with a mighty stroke. For a moment, I was nothing, no one. I promised myself it would always be that way, as he pulled himself out a few inches, the muscles on his back flexing beneath my hands, and then he slammed into me again and again. I broke and broke against him as he moved, as he murmured my name and told me he loved me. And when the lightning once more filled my veins, my head, when I gasped out his name, his new release found him. I gripped him through each shuddering wave, savoring the weight of him, the feel of his skin, his strength. Soon he murmured, and those fingers traveled back. I think you get the point, okay? These are the books we were assured that are age appropriate in our libraries. They are not. Your job is to protect our children. So it's no longer, we didn't know it, we weren't aware of it. You know it, and you're aware of it now.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Education Foundation update.
For the Education Foundation, we were talking about actually more members, trying to bring on more directors for that. We talked about different fundraisers, possibility of doing a bingo night that hasn't been done for a few years, so that might be something that would be fun. Basically, that was it.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on. Approval of consent agenda. Motion to approve the consent agenda. Ms. Unson, Ms. Littlewood, questions or comments? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Thank you very much. Motion to approve consensus items B through J. Motion, please. Mr. Moscato, Dr. Richards, questions or comments? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Thank you very much. Motion to approve the superintendent recommendations, resignations, appointments, leaves, and terminations. Motion, please. Oh, excuse me. What? I'm sorry. I apologize. Got lost. Should know better. Moving on. All right. Thank you, Superintendent. Motion to approve the attached summer hours of various aides, teachers, and other support staff. Motion, please. Mr. Long, Ms. Unson, questions or comments? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Thank you very much. Moving on to superintendent comments.
We have a big announcement. Today, we just got confirmation that the Food Link curbside market for Gates Chile will be starting this Thursday from 3:30 to 4:30. They'll be here from June to September with the Food Link mobile food truck every Thursday. It's open to anyone. They take a variety of payment methods, including cash and debit. So don't forget to bring a grocery bag. We'll be sharing this out with all our families and encouraging them to have one more resource to get fresh food. On the 25th, we went to the Top Workplace ceremony and learned that we were the number 5 large company and the top-ranked school district that participated. So that was pretty exciting, as well as winning another award for our DEI efforts in hiring. So it was a good night for the Spartans. And now with graduation approaching, for our eligible seniors, I want to inform everyone again and update you on some important information regarding the event. It's going to take place on June 22nd in Spartan Stadium at 4:30. Parents will be able to sit in the grandstand and additional bleachers facing the stage, which will be on the Spartan head at midfield of the turf. We will also be live streaming the event in our Performing Arts Center for those needing a climate-controlled environment and or special seating. Neither area will require tickets. If the weather does not cooperate, we'll hold a live ceremony in our Fieldhouse Gymnasium, along with the live streaming option in the Performing Arts Center. Go to our high school webpage at gateschile.org/HS for more details on the ceremony. Last week, I was able to attend the Make All the Difference Scholarship and Awards ceremony. I attended it. It was held at BOCES 2, and our students Aiden Grinion, Molly Hong, and Josh Cassavoy were honored. It was neat to see our Spartans doing great things and being recognized on a regional level. This week, we learned of a new regent being appointed. The Senate and Assembly elected Dr. Robert Catania to serve as a member of the New York State Board of Regents from Judicial District 4. He succeeds Regent Betty Odekirk, who passed away on March 23rd. He is an educational practitioner and scholar with a doctorate's degree in social foundations of education and the history of education. And he's also served as a superintendent of schools in Lake Placid Central for over 8 years, as well as having a long career in education where he served as a social studies teacher, school counselor, and college instructor. So welcome to the Board of Regents. Tomorrow, one of our great traditions, our 52nd fifth grade track meet, is tomorrow at 10 a.m. out here in our track. Rain date is June 9th, and the great Sam Utter will be announcing it once again. You may have noticed as you came in on Spartan Way that fencing has gone up behind the admin building and behind the stadium in preparation for constructing our new parking lot. That should be getting started shortly with groundbreaking. On Memorial Day, I'd like to thank Mr. Potensky, Mr. Long, and Mr. Moscato for attending on behalf of the district. Mr. Potensky and I presented a rose in remembrance. It was also Mr. Long's birthday, so happy belated birthday, Mr. Long. And last week, we got some great news. Our outstanding junior achievement economics teacher, Jim Marco, and his economic kids have done it again. Meredith Hart and Mia Budalovic placed first overall and receiving $1,000 each from junior achievement. Our kids excel in these authentic learning experiences and represent Gates Chi-Li and our community in a very positive way across our region. They also gain important experience in problem solving, project planning, and developing a full understanding of the business process and acumen. Thank you for your support, Board, for these and other programs and for the relationship we continue to grow with JA and the district. That is my report, sir.
Thanks very much. Moving on, motion to adjourn the meeting. Mr. Long, Ms. Kies, all in favor? Vote is unanimous. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.